Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, Thursday, January 11th. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over a recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they ultimately ended up turning out. We'll go over to RotoWire, talk about the injuries in play. It's going to be a pretty small slate today. It's a 4-game main slate, and then we do have the 5th game, which is actually a game that is being played in France, so that one is not on the main slate whatsoever, but should be for a pretty interesting overall experience, especially for the fans over in France. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings. It's going to be one player at each position, so point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. But without further ado, we'll get started with that recap of yesterday's picks. On the DraftKings side, we had Jaden Ivey at point guard. You could also play him at shooting guard, $6,800. We were looking for at least 34 out of him, got to 38.75, so he was a hit. Then I said you could either go with Jordan McLaughlin or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, whoever ultimately ended up starting in place of Mike Conley yesterday. It ended up being Nickeil Alexander-Walker, $3,800 on DraftKings, looking for at least 19 out of him, got to 29.5, so he was a really good hit on yesterday's slate. At small forward, I kind of said you could go with Trey Murphy if Zion was to miss. Unfortunately, by the time I got the news and could update that, pretty much all the other games had started. So they kind of get stuck with Trey Murphy here. But at $5,600, looking for at least 28 out of him, he got to 34. So he was a good hit at the very least. We had Naz Reid in the updated core. $5,200, looking for at least 26 out of him, got to 44.5. He was a hit. Once we did know that Kyle Anderson was starting, I said you could also go to Karl Anthony Towns. So he was $7,900, looking for at least 40 out of him, got to 56.25. So either way you went was really good overall. And then last but not least, at center, we went with Onyeka Okongwu at $4,800. Was looking for at least 24 out of him, got to 38.75, so he was a hit as well. So all 6 guys that I did mention here on DraftKings were hits yesterday. So as long as you had some other decent plays, you were cashing pretty easily on yesterday's slate. And then on the FanDuel side, pretty similar story. So we had Jaden Ivey, $6,400 at the point guard position, looking for at least 32 out of him, got to 41.1, so he was a really good hit. And then I said, once again, you could either play Jordan McLaughlin or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, just depending on who ultimately ended up starting. Was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, once again, $4,400, looking for at least 22 out of him. Got to 29.3 on the FanDuel side, so he was a hit over there as well. At small forward, we had Miles Bridges, $7,900, looking for at least 40 out of him. Got to 41.4, so he was also a hit. And then similar story at that power forward position. Did have Naz Reid listed here. I said you could go to Karl Anthony Towns if you wanted to once it was announced that Reid would not be starting. But for Naz Reid, $5,700, looking for at least 28, 29 out of him. Got to 43.5, so he was a really good hit. And then for Karl Anthony Towns, $7,900 again. Looking for at least 40 out of him, got to 54.6, so he was a hit on the FanDuel side as well. And last but not least, we had Onyeka Okongwu once again, $5,600. Looking for at least 28 out of him, and he got to 37.7, so he was a really good hit over there as well. So all 6 were a hit on the FanDuel side as well. So a pretty solid day overall. As long as you had other decent plays, you had a pretty good chance of cashing overall. I did have one lineup on FanDuel that didn't cash because I played Kevin Huerter as kind of a value play, and he got hurt 1 minute into the game, hurt his ankle, and was ruled out for the rest of the game. So that one was a little bit unfortunate, but everything else seemed to do pretty well just in general yesterday. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to RotoWire and talk about the injuries in play for tonight's slate. So once again, it is a 4-game main slate. There's 5 games in total today. Once again, that first game is going to be that game that is being played in France between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. On the Nets side, we got Day'Ron Sharpe and Ben Simmons both listed out. So Sharpe's the newest one there. He's going to be out for a couple weeks now, it sounds like. So we're probably going to see more of Dorian Finney-Smith and Trendon Watford taking on that backup center role behind Nick Claxton in general. And then for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we got Darius Garland, Ty Jerome, and Evan Mobley all out once again, so no changes there whatsoever. The Boston Celtics are on the back-to-back. We'll get their injury report later this afternoon, but do assume that Al Horford is going to sit out the second half of the back-to-back since he did ultimately end up playing yesterday. Kristaps Porzingis missed yesterday, so I would assume that he is back for today's game just in general. Then on the Milwaukee Bucks side, we got Jay Crowder out once again. Cam Payne is listed as probable. He did miss their most recent game due to concussion, but looks like he should be back tonight. They also do get Damian Lillard back at that point guard spot as well. Then for the Portland Trailblazers, we got Moses Brown out once again. DeAndre Ayton remains doubtful, so he's probably going to miss once again. And then Jabari Walker listed as questionable due to his knee injury. He has missed the past 3 games for them. So pretty similar to what we've seen out of Portland as of late. We'll see whether or not Jabari Walker ultimately is back tonight or not. But if he's still out once again, we're going to get a lot of dot breath at that center position as long as the game remains competitive. If the game's not competitive, we're probably going to see a lot of Baji at center and neither one of them really paid off too much in their most recent game. And then on the Thunder side, they're on the back-to-back, so we will see their injury report as the day moves along, but probably not too much to expect here. The two guys that did ultimately end up missing yesterday, in Davis Bertans and Sarr, were guys that weren't really in the rotation either way. Then we move down to the New York Knicks. They actually do have Mitchell Robinson listed as out at this point in time. There is some hope that he could make a potential return at the very end of the season as opposed to being out for the whole season. And then on the Dallas Mavericks side, the big one here is going to be Luka Doncic out today, as well as Dante Exum. And then we got Maxi Kleber and Derek Lively, both listed as doubtful once again. Grant Williams listed as questionable due to his ankle injury, but has played in their two most recent games. So could be some interesting value pieces on this Mavericks team overall, especially with no Luka Doncic out there. There is more usage to go around. Do kind of expect Jaden Hardy to start at that point guard spot once again. And then we move over to the Phoenix Suns, just Damon Lee out once again, so no real changes there. And then on the Lakers side, we got Gabe Vincent out once again. Rui Hachimura listed as doubtful. Cam Reddish listed as questionable. He is dealing with the face laceration, I believe it was. So we'll see whether or not he plays tonight or not. If he doesn't play, it could open up a spot for someone else, whether that's D'Angelo Russell, whether that's Max Christie, or whether that's someone else. LeBron is drawing his usual questionable tag, but do expect him to play tonight. And then Anthony Davis drawing his usual probable tag. Do expect him to play tonight as well. So that's kind of a quick little rundown on all their injuries in play. Once again, it's only a 4-game main slate, so not too much to talk about here, but definitely some things that we'll be watching throughout the day. So definitely make sure you're checking up on the comments, as I will have all the injury updates as well as the starting lineups listed down there throughout the day as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So at the point guard position, we're going to go with Jaden Hardy here. He is $3,700. There is no Luka Doncic once again today. We're only looking for like 18, 19 out of him, which is really good value overall. I think there's a good chance that he gets to at least 22 for us tonight. You know, if he's out there, if he's playing at least 24 minutes, has a really good chance of getting there. He is a guy that can go out there and score in bunches. So definitely has a really strong upside at $3,700. Has a little bit of downside, but that's really relegated with no Luka Doncic out there, especially if he does ultimately end up starting. Then at shooting guard, we go with the teammate and Kyrie Irving. is $9,000. A little bit tougher matchup versus the Knicks today. They are a decent defensive team, but still with no Luka Doncic out there, he's going to look really good overall. Currently I'm projected for about 46, but definitely does have some upside for more as well. And then on the opposite end of that game, we're going to go with OG Anunoby. You can play on small forward. You can play him at power forward. $6,100. Looking for at least 30, 31 out of him. Got him currently projected for 32 tonight. A little bit concerned that this game will be probably a slower pace, since both these teams do like to play a little bit slower, especially this season once again for that New York Knicks side. So there is a little bit of downside to be had there, but I still feel like OG Anunoby should be a relatively safe play overall. Then at power forward, do have Jalen Williams here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's $7,200, looking for 36 out of him. He's averaging just under 33 so far in the season. His last 4 games, he's essentially hit this price tag or better, so definitely do like the upside he's had as of late. It's a good matchup versus Portland today. It's a pace-up spot. As long as they don't blow them out too badly, he's going to look like a really good play overall. Currently have him projected for about 38, but definitely does have some pretty strong upside for more at the same time as well. And then last but not least, at that center position, we have Isaiah Hartenstein, $6,500, looking for 32, 33 out of him. Currently I'm projected for 35. He's been playing pretty well as of late. It's a very attractive matchup versus Dallas, who's kind of banged up at that center position, and a team that doesn't rebound the greatest for centers and are allowing a lot of fantasy points to opposing centers. So definitely do like Isaiah Hartenstein. He's been playing really well as of late. He's been playing really big minutes. So definitely do like the upside he offers once again. And like I said, currently have him projected for about 35 tonight. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I currently have listed here, you'll have $17,500 remaining, just over $5,800 per player. So looks a little bit more like a balanced build type of day. Obviously, the injuries and some value opening up throughout the day could ultimately end up changing that. We have a lot of good high-end options on this slate, whether it's Giannis, whether it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Anthony Davis. There's quite a few up there at the top, so I kind of like going with some steady value plays and then kind of mix and match in some of my higher price guys today in general. But with that being said, we'll get moving over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So on the FanDuel side at point guard, we're going to go with Jalen Brunson here. You could go with Kyrie Irving, but I believe he's $10,200. So he's a lot more priced up on the FanDuel side in general. You have to get at least 51 out of him for him to really pay off, which he definitely could do on tonight's slate. A little bit tougher ask against the Knicks, who are a pretty good defensive team just in general. I'm going with Jalen Brunson's side here at $9,000, looking for about 45 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 44, 45, averaging about 41 so far in the season. It is a pseudo revenge game for him too as well, since he left the Dallas Mavericks. He got more money from the Knicks, so maybe not quite the bad blood there that look for in that revenge game, but it's a fun narrative at the same time regardless. So definitely do like him tonight. Point guard is one of the weaker positions in my personal opinion, just in general. Then we move down to shooting guard with Malik Beasley, $4,500. Minutes have kind of been all over the place for him as of late. He's been playing a little bit better though in terms of shooting. If he goes out there and he's making a lot of shots, $4,500 is going to look like too cheap of a price tag overall. Looking for 22, 23 out of him. Currently I'm projected for about 24, 25. So it just looks like a decent value play on tonight's slate overall. Then at small forward, we're going to move down to OG Anunoby once again, $6,200, looking for 31 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 32. It's just kind of that safe, steady play overall. I do like the upside that he could have in this game, although the game is a little bit slower paced, which could affect him just a little bit, as well as some of the other guys in this game. But on a 4-game main slate, looks like one of the better point per dollar options in terms of that small forward position. Then at power forward, just kind of want somebody cheap here. So right now I have Taurean Prince here at $4,900. This could ultimately end up being somebody else, just depending on the news that we do get throughout the day. But most likely Rui Hachimura is out once again tonight, so that does solidify the minutes for Taurean Prince at the very least. $4,900, you're looking for at least 24, 25 out of him. Currently I'm projected for about 23, 24, so a little bit shy of that. But in terms of a value option, you could definitely do a lot worse on tonight's slate overall. And then at center, we're going right back to Dwight Powell, $4,800, looking for 24 out of him. There is no Derek Lively once again tonight, no Maxi Kleber, so I'm going to look like a pretty good spot for him. He did play the most minutes out of anybody that occupied that center position in general. It should be, an interesting matchup with him and Isaiah Hartenstein, but definitely do like him just kind of as a safe value play on tonight's slate overall. Currently, I have him projected for 25 points. Might have a little bit of upside for more, if he goes out there, plays 26, 28 minutes tonight. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have on the FanDuel side, you have $30,600 remaining, just over $7,600 per player, so a good chunk of change left over. Like I said on DraftKings, there's a lot of good pay-up options on tonight's slate overall, whether it's LeBron James, Giannis, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, a lot of great options up there at the top. So want to get a little bit creative with some of our value options, kind of pay up for some of those other guys, and kind of go from there. Definitely going to make for a pretty interesting slate overall once again. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, Thursday, January 11th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I do ask that you please note whether those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as always, I'll be listing all the injury updates as they do come out throughout the day, as well as the starting lineups as they do get announced throughout the night. And then about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock, I'll leave my updated core as a pinned comment. If there's no changes to the core at that point in time, I'll just leave a pinned comment that says no changes to the core at this point in time. If there's any other additional changes that happen after that fact, we'll leave them as a reply to the pinned comment just in general. So definitely make sure you're looking out for that, as well as the updated injuries throughout the day, so you have the best information as you move forward into lock. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we just have NBA DFS Monday through Friday in terms of the core pick videos. NFL DFS is done for the regular season, so it is done for me for this season as well. If you are still out there playing NFL DFS and you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and would still be more than happy to help you with that as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you are a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, when you make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Parlay Play and Prize Picks, it's 100% of your initial deposit up to $100. For BetUS, it's 125% of your initial deposit up to $2,500. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions whatsoever related to sports betting, related to prop betting, feel free to drop them down in the comments or reach out to me on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.